So, well, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I love fun chats.
Good. Well, we'll have one. And what I want to begin with is, how did you survive the pandemic? How did you get through the last 3.5 years, and how did it change you?
Oh, huh. Okay. Well, luckily, I mean, in the beginning, I was like, oh, I just got back from LA. I had just been to a big conference in Toronto where actually the prime minister was March
Wow.
9th, 2020. And it was just 3 days after that where his wife had got COVID and then everything went nutty progressively, right? It's like, oh, let's just wait out. Let's defer these events. At the time, I was really pursuing speaking more and things were kicking into a different gear and it was all going well. And then it's like, oh, okay, I'll just wait till October. Oh, okay, I'll just wait until. And so the first year was just very like, maybe. And then that by that like second year, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
okay. And then the mask and the things. Luckily, I live like near the lake. I could go for walks. I could, so like, it was very isolating. It's like me and my cat. So it's like, that's always fun. So it
Yeah.
was very, and at the same time, my clientele maintained. So it was in this weird, like everything's fine, but it's not
Hmm.
situation of like, ironically, I thought, okay, this is the year I'm going to get out from behind my computer. I'd had an online business doing psychotherapy and transformational coaching for 10 years. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sing and I'm going to speak and I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to travel. And it's like, no, you're going to be like only behind your computer. Like,
Yeah.
not only is it out, like, just that's it. That's
Yeah.
your existence.
Yeah.
So, long story short, yeah, just like, okay, but also weirdly like, why plan anything? Why
Yeah.
that great resignation energy definitely was a thing. And yet I'm supposed to be the one who helps people. So there was that balance of not pretending like everything's fine, but definitely needing to make sure I'm resourced to do my job.
Yeah. Well, it was bizarre because I remember when it happened here, it was spring break, and I work in a school district. My day job is as an IT guy. So it
Mm.
was like, okay, we'll get through this, whatever, week or two period. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
let's see what
And then,
happens.
and then the governor said everything was closed, and then everything got worse. And then there were variants. So it was this weird wishy-washy game. It was just kind of
Hmm.
like psychological torture, like, hey, you're doing okay, and then you get punished. And then it's like, no, you're fine, you're good. And then you get punished. Because that was
Hmm.
the whole
Hmm.
idea of the variant. We thought we were
Hmm.
coming out. And I know here in America, when it got warm, it was like everybody, the abandonment. I mean, we were like, let's go, let's run. It's
Yeah.
warm out. I don't care what's going on.
Woo!
But then again, America always has to be the most dramatic. We had to have the whole thing with George Floyd. Like, we just threw the aerosol can in the bonfire.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it happened here. So um
Yeah. Yeah. And we're pretty close. We're
yeah.
we're pretty proximal, but so different, so different when I go to the States and then sometimes people say something, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot
Yeah.
how different we are
Yes.
sometimes.
Uh-huh. For sure.
So yeah, but then Canada had it bad in terms of they were really locking down on things. Like couldn't leave, couldn't, it was just weird. I
That's what
felt
I heard.
I was watching The Handmaid's Tale just because it's so well done. I was just, there's some pretty not amazing TV shows happening, just because everything had been shut down, literally productions. And I was watching it and I was like, this is creepy when they were showing them shutting down the banking. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
super creepy. I think I need to not watch this show
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because it was just, where is your power?
Yeah. Right. That's the thing. Um, I saw during the pandemic a movie about a pandemic, and it was like,
I
I'm
didn't
not.
watch it. I saw the title. I was like, nope.
It's like
Nope.
watching the news. It's like, do you, it's like the world's already weird enough. I'm good without the news. I'm fine.
No, I don't
Yeah.
really do the news. I mean, for multiple reasons. If I need to know something, I will. Like
Yeah.
a lot of my clients are big into the news, um, but it isn't always news, and there's
Uh-huh.
a lot of be scared, be scared, be scared, be scared, and so
If it bleeds, it leads. That's
yeah,
the idea. So
yeah,
so let's get into what you do for a living. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's career
yep,
day. and a little guy in the audience says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer
Yeah.
the child?
I help adults be happier.
Okay. So what did you want to be when you were in the third grade?
Oh, it's happening. A Disney princess. So
Okay.
singing and hanging out with animals.
Yes.
That, I mean, give me a gown. And, when I saw The Bodyguard,
Yeah.
not third grade, I was just like, that. And I know other
Yeah.
little girls do that too, but I actually could sing and then could hit the notes and then had the potential to do things. And fast forward to getting a music degree and being like, oh, the music industry is
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
It isn't dresses and it's like, we're going to own you and we might pay you. You might make money. You might make 2 cents an album. And now it's like 0.0003 cents per download. I didn't love those odds. So yeah, I
Yeah.
found this career.
I'm always astonished that something that's so pervasive in the world, like music, is such a horrific behind the scenes scenario. Now, it's not for some, but that's the way it is everywhere. I mean, you got your
Yeah.
CEOs and you got your high level billionaires, but for most people, every time it gets to like the end of the year and they always did their Spotify recap, they're like, "Hey, I can get a cup of coffee. Hey, I can pay the tax on my cup of coffee."
Yeah.
It's
Hey, it's the starving artist phenomenon. And like, in Canada, it's such a big country. And then to get to work in the US, to be able to perform in the US, you need the visa situation. So if you don't have a record deal, it's really hard with all of those conditions. Like if you do a tour, you're only going to hit a few major cities. But it's so different now. So I'm 41 now. I was in university. So I was like 22 when I thought, oh my gosh, like this isn't really a career path that's going to make sense. And
yeah.
all my eggs were in that basket. I'm like, I'm really good. It doesn't matter. Business. And so but what you see. So I'm also in the spiritual industry, spiritual development, which is an interesting landscape right now. Um, Watching all these exposés like John of God and the yoga guru and just all these gurus being like, oh, something was wrong. Something was wrong there. And Hollywood director, all of this demons and shadows are being revealed. So even if you're Judy Garland, you watch the Judy Garland movie and you're like, huh, okay,
Yeah.
that looked sparkly, but here's this woman being broken down sort of strategically
Yeah.
and then sold.
Right. Yeah, this cancel culture is out of control. Like I was watching the Elvis movie the other day, and the Colonel did all of this
Mhm.
crazy stuff. And then you look at Bill Cosby and you look at all this stuff. Now, I think we have to clean things up. This whole like sexist, all this
It's
nonsense
over.
has to
It's
go away.
over. It's way gone hyperbolic. Like now people don't know what to say and do. And I don't know, like racially. And I'm a very sensitive, attuned person. I respect people. So, but if I just say the wrong thing, because I'm from Huron County, so think small town US, it's not
Yeah.
that different where
Hmm.
some people say certain things.
Yeah.
They don't think it's bad. It's just the word their granddaddy said.
Uh-huh.
And then you kind of hear people say the things anyway. It might come out of my mouth just in a
Yeah.
casual conversation. And it's just
Yep.
the cancel culture fear is very real. Of like, oh, don't say, I studied shamanic energy work. Well, don't say that.
Right.
Don't be white and don't
Yeah.
don't talk about that.
Right.
And and so yeah, it's also imprisoning people in a way. It's not creating more inclusivity. It's
Exactly.
creating more fear
Doing
still.
the opposite. Like I feel the worst for comedians because that their playground is to be inappropriate, right?
Right.
So it's over with. And I was going to cover a show about 2 years ago. Bill Burr was coming to town, and I wanted to cover it. I was looking for passes, and they're like nothing. And I'm like, look, I'm not looking for an angle. I'm actually a fan, so I just want to cover the show. They're like nothing. So anymore, I
uh,
heard there was a Bob Dylan show coming to town. They have these little plastic bags you got to put your phone in when you come in. Like it's getting to a point now where they're hurting everything. There was a comedian, maybe it was Chappelle, a week
mm,
or two ago, that left stage, chastised the person because they pulled the phone out when they were supposed to have them all bagged up. He flipped out and left. So
Wow.
can you imagine being that dude and everybody's in the crowd looking at you?
It's your fault.
Yeah,
Also, don't do that.
right.
Don't be that guy.
No. I
I
mean,
don't
what,
feel bad for
why?
him. Like,
Yeah,
don't do that.
just don't be that guy. So let me ask you this. Who's been a hero for you in your life?
Oh. Huh. No, all I'm thinking about is the Whitney Houston song, The Greatest Love of All.
Right. Yeah. They, we started it. The fire has been started.
um, I feel like there's been a few, like I was in a car accident when I was 15 and then had chronic pain. And then so my first one was my Reiki teacher. So someone had mentioned the word Reiki. This was before people knew what this was.
Yeah.
Ended up learning about energy and energy work and I can create a different life. Like that's possible. Then, interesting, one of my ex-boyfriends in my 20s taught me, he was a football player and he was a very smart guy. He was a very intelligent person and just kind of taught me real intrinsic confidence, really saw what I was capable of and was just like, you don't see you. You need to see you. And
Yeah.
so that helped me tremendously. And then my ontological coach mentor. So yes, I help adults be happy. Kind of coming back to the kid. I'm like, I help them shed all of the societal programming and intergenerational stuff so they could be who they really are. And that sounds really lame, but it's true.
Sure.
My ontological mentor, ontology means the study of human beings and their relationship to reality. So it's been, it's in philosophy, it's like Kierkegaard and Sartre and some of the Stoics. But essentially like how you're relating to reality is gonna create your reality. It's not too big of a stretch. So that helped me put all of my potential into a basket that worked for me in terms of I could work online, I could be a psychotherapist, but also not just be sitting on a chair in a room every day for the rest of my life because I'm really more of a creative artist person.
Yeah.
So like that felt like a no,
Yeah.
like a hard no.
Absolutely.
So there isn't one. Um, yeah, there isn't one, but
Yeah.
there's those people that help you see you more than you see yourself enough to cross that bridge and go, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, that kind of the good thing about that answer is it kind of answers my question of how did you acquire these levels of sensibilities and kind of emotional intellect to get to a point where you can kind of tap into things that most people don't think of or are aware of, like Reiki and all of that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so let me ask you this: if you could meet one person alive on the planet right now, anybody that intrigues you, who would it be? Who would you love to meet?
Alive on the planet right now. There's some conversations I would like to have. I was just thinking about this. Like, I want to talk to that person. Who was it? Who was it? Who was it? Shoot. Um, no one is coming to mind right
Okay,
now.
that's fine. Let's do this. Let's
We
do
circle
this.
back.
You can either circle back or let's take this to another place. Let's say you have a time machine and you can go back in time and see one event in human history. Where are you going?
One event. Oh,
With your own
wow.
eyes.
Oh, I would probably want to see Whitney Houston sing. I know
Yeah,
that sounds like nuts, but like I just think she is just like she was channeling some insane
yeah,
energy.
yeah,
And I wanted to see her sing. I've seen Gladys Knight was probably the close second where I did see her live, and it was just like, what is happening right now? And
yeah,
I just got back from Peru, like a spiritual journey, and I felt more spiritual, meaning like at
yeah,
that. So being able to witness greatness, like a human embodying greatness,
yeah.
you know, that is magical for me.
So you've mentioned a lot of traveling. You mentioned Peru. Well, what's one place that you've traveled to that you didn't expect was going to be as beautiful and magical as it was?
Hmm. I felt like Costa Rica was really energetically epic. It really hot. Didn't love that. It's like 40 degrees. I'm like,
Right.
whoa,
Yeah,
it's so hot. But I
yeah,
remember walking to the beach and being like, I'm in a land of time, like the Land Before Time
yeah,
movie. Like there was just this. I don't know. It wasn't as tainted. So Peru, surprisingly, was disappointingly starting to get so tainted by humans.
Yeah.
It just felt like a weird stand in line, and then
Yeah, it's a
here's
bummer.
the selfie stick lineup. Anyway, I love humans and also don't like them sometimes.
Yeah, I get it. You know what's interesting about the Costa Rica thing is I have a jazz show and I interview musicians. I think around April or May of 2020, when all of this was raging, I interviewed one of my favorite musicians from New York, and he literally, like, I don't know if he was a Swami and caught the wind before everybody, but he literally sold everything and
Went
left.
there.
This was a guy that was totally in the scene. So he goes to Costa Rica. We're interviewing. He turns into a surfer. I hear macaws in the background. He's totally happy. And it was just wild. And he was like, this is the place. Now, he had no real firm income at that point other than what he liquidated.
It's
But he
pretty
was
cheap
like,
to live there.
yeah, that's what he said too. He was like, I'm out, I'm eating fruit, I'm eating all of this of the land. And
Yep.
it was wild. So when you said that, because I used to joke around, there used to be a program for people that would graduate from college that you could work off your debt and you could go to places and teach. And I
Oh,
thought, how cool would
cool.
it be to go to Costa Rica and teach art to kids or something like that?
Ooh, something neat.
You know,
Yeah.
you get a stipend, they take care of your debt, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So
You could pay off a lot of debt. I mean, it's in the Pura Vita lifestyle isn't fake. It's like pure life, like life being the more important metric than other
yes.
metrics. So that's real.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this North American, I mean, the reason I have a job is because North America is so messed up. Like the the purpose of my book is to say nothing's wrong with you. Here's
Right.
what's wrong with this, and here's what's wrong with this. And when I was a kid, you like asked what my sense of how I built these sensibilities. I was born being like,
Yeah.
what the actual F? Like I was in Catholic school. I was like,
Hmm.
I don't, and I could tell my mom would say everything's fine. And I'm like, is that? And so
Yeah.
I thought something was wrong with me because I was so aware that something was wrong. And then I grew up and went, oh, no, something's wrong. And we've made it about us. And that can be, we can unhook from that.
Yeah. I think it's that Buddhist notion of just watching a leaf fall down into a river and just watch it kind of saunter off. Like there's this serenity and
Yeah.
there's this starkness that goes into that idea, but it really is about that, about nature being a part of it. Suffering is just as much a part of this reality as pleasure is, and you just kind of have to balance and figure it out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That finding that center point. My shamanic mentor taught me how to find my center
Yeah.
before my mind was just like, bleep, 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 bleep,
Uh,
and I'm like, to be an artist, it's all kind of coming together. The other big mentor is William Riley. So he's Celine Dion's vocal coach.
yeah.
He is a mentor, like capital M, like just, it wasn't just singing coaching, right? It was, but this concept of being able to be so open, color and phrase from kind of nothingness so that you're alive in that moment. Pure presence is what's magnetic. That's real cool
Yeah.
music. I did study jazz at York. So you said the
Yeah.
jazz musicians. I wouldn't be able to like play with them very well.
Right.
Like there's like if you don't put in the hours, you're really not a jazz musician. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to pretend.
Sure.
But just to be an artist and to be a human and this intersection and even singing well and being a good human, not good human, but like a human that's enjoying your life, that's like here and aware and each day's, I think presence is just the most valuable thing. And our attention, given all the COVID stuff, our attention,
Yeah.
being able to reclaim that
Yeah.
is a key to that. But to be an artist, you have to be able to watch the leaf go down the river.
Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah.
So, how do you balance the fact that your profession is inherently based on helping others, which means you have to give of yourself, but you also have to give yourself? How do
Mm-hmm.
you balance those hemispheres?
Yeah. I eventually had to learn. I was exhausted in my first couple of years. I was like winning, had a bunch of clients, but I was exhausted and watching Netflix and not working out as much. And so I was giving, I thought I needed to work to make money, sort of this mindset. Now I'm a guide. So my job is to be fully lit up and tuned up. And that means I need to do what I am lit up by. So I do my singing stuff and I take time for that and I charge differently to account for that so that I am like fully lit up and on. And or if I'm having a low day, it's not about I'm always good. It's more like I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna mess like leak onto my client. So more I see it as a guide. My job is to stay really connected to myself. Actually, in order for me to do my job, I have to be extremely connected to myself. And I think that's missing in some healthcare people. They're missing that piece and they're giving. And I think the best way is to be fully tuned up and then you can guide accordingly.
Yeah. So what's been one of your best success stories? Favorite? I
Ooh.
know there's anonymous natures that go into it, but
Yep.
overall, what's one of your favorite success stories?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. One of my first clients was just living a life that was okay. It would look good from the outside, winning in life, but just doesn't. It wasn't her life, and made a complete. And she just took it and ran with it. Like as soon as she had some of these tools and some of this healing and because I kind of like a dental like I'm going to help you with all the deep stuff that you can't get at, but then you
Yeah.
got to keep brushing and flossing and doing all the
Uh-huh.
things. She just went nuts with it and her whole life changed and the possibilities and her expression, her career changed, her marriage changed. I don't give advice. I'm not like leave your husband. Like I
Yeah.
won't ever ever say anything like that. It's like let's explore this. Let's try to transform it. Let's see. But found the love of her life, was able to receive at that level. That's really big, but really made an entire transformation. Then I watch her now. She's doing similar stuff to myself, changing lives, and felt very. I don't. It's such a wonderful thing to help people unlock who they are and actually
Yeah.
accomplish it.
Yeah. So of all of the things that you've done, overcome, and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
What am I the proudest of?
Yeah.
I am the proudest of I don't need to be a fancy singer and need I don't need the things. I can actually watch the leaf go down the river and
Yeah.
be like, yeah, that that happened. So I would say of my peace of feeling peaceful. And then from there I can create stuff. But that's so relieving.
Yeah.
Then in my 20s, if I could talk back to her, be like, hello, let's go over here. Let's
Yes. Uh-huh.
let's just be okay being
Yeah.
and then do cool shit.
It's the that's the thing about youth though. We that's the irony is that you feel like you got it all figured out, but you don't know anything.
I
You
felt
just
like I was racing towards something and I was late all the time. Like I
yeah.
felt like I had to be somewhere and get somewhere at like 8 a.m. Like I felt an obsession with getting somewhere. And I now see the distinction as there's your mind thinking you have to get somewhere, and then there's your soul being like, there's somewhere that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
We're going to show you that. And that creates a bit of an aching feeling. But when our mind gets a hold of it, it becomes a crazy obsession
Yeah.
of like, I'm going to die and never do anything. And that isn't motivating. So for me in my youth, like, yeah, I always felt like I had to get somewhere, write the
Yeah.
book and do the album and get somewhere and do the
Uh-huh.
thing. And it's like, I forgot living mattered
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, being in the moment. Yeah, I always blame being I used to be chronically late when I was younger, and I blamed it on my birth because I was expected at a certain time, and I was born late. So I was always behind, just always
You're
catching
just
up.
like, you were being authentic.
Right. It was like the Atari game with the little pitfall guy, just running, just constantly. Go to
Yeah.
sleep. I can't. I got to get there, you know?
I'm gonna be late. Yeah. And then
Catch my
sometimes like,
shadow.
yeah, finding that balance of being authentic without being a jerk. Like, oh, like, it's I have a friend who I'm like, be there at 3 because I know it starts at 3:30. And that's
Yes.
love. I'm like, I'm just not gonna expect you to do something you don't do.
You're a bartender. It's bar time. Just that you got to fool them, you know? Because
Yeah.
it's going to benefit everybody.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Hmm. I think I am. I do think I'm a Disney princess. I
There you go.
really do.
Everything's full circle, isn't it? It
I
really
if
is.
I someone asked me a question, if you had all the money and you've done all the things, you've accomplished all the things on your bucket list. I was like, I would hang out at animal sanctuary
Yeah.
and I would just be happy. I would just be super happy doing that. So yeah.
I love it. So if anyone wants to hire you, get your book, reach out, learn more about you, where can they
Yep.
go?
JennaSmithCoaching.com.
That's easy. That's
Yeah. I
totally,
like easy.
yeah, exactly.
Everything's there. And then all the other links are there.
Yeah. So everything's right there. Jenna, this has been wonderful. I hope you had a
Yay.
good time. Thank you for your
Yes.
story. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful 2024. And before we get out here, I have to tell you, I love the way Canadians deal with artists. The grants that musicians get, the universal health care. I love you guys. I know it's not a utopia, but you're talking to someone that's
Pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. Real good.
I'm liking it. I'm good.
Yeah, it's good. Cool. Hey, Jenna, have a great day.
You
I
too.
appreciate it.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye.